What's going on, traders? In this video, we're going to be looking at identifying key volume levels utilizing the fixed range volume profile drawing tool here on TradingView and Project X. We're going to be taking a look at exactly how to utilize the tool itself, the settings I use, where I mark on my chart, how I label these levels, and why you might want to use them in your trading. Before we get started, I also want to let you know Top 1 Futures is running a 40% off plus anytime payouts and no daily drawdown right now with code RDF. This is the instant funded, straight to funded prop firm, no evaluation that I'm live trading here on YouTube almost every day, 9:30 a.m. Code RDF if you want to check that out. I'll throw the link right here. Now, let's jump straight into it. We're here on a TradingView chart. This is the 1-minute ES chart. And what I'm going to show you is how I utilize the fixed range volume profile to identify key levels of volume. So how I might utilize this tool here on the 1-minute chart. Going to prior day, right? So here we are on Monday. This is regular trading session hours starting at 9:30 a.m. I'm going to scroll over to the prior day. I'll tell you why in just a moment. But first, we're going to go ahead and drag out the tool. Right, so we're going to come over here to forecasting and measurement tools. This is on TradingView, but again, this is the exact same on Project X. We're going to click that, and we're going to come down here to fixed range volume profile. When we click the fixed range volume profile, we have 2 points to drag to and from. It does not matter if we go above or below price, where we go as far as the price scale, but it matters by time. So for this example, we're going to utilize 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be a regular trading session hour volume profile. Now, what this tool does, right? As you can see it dragged out here, and then we'll talk about the settings and how I identify levels. This tool is giving you exactly what it states, a volume profile right here for a fixed range. And we are identifying the fixed range coming from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., right? 4 p.m. Eastern, which is NYSE session regular trading hours. I like to utilize 2 of these on my chart and identify 6 levels, 3 from each profile. I like to use the prior week's volume profile, which I'll mark on the chart with you next, and this one right here, the prior day's fixed range volume profile for regular trading session hours. Here's what we get out of this, a horizontal display of volume. We are looking at where volume is traded in the highest and lowest points based on the price action and market structure that forms for whatever time we are identifying. What this gives us is 3 really key levels that I like to utilize in my trading. They come into play very often in the next trading session. Not today is an example of that, but they often act as key levels, support and resistance, areas of interest on the chart that we might want to pay attention to and look at trading to and from or to utilize in structuring our risk. So how we're going to mark these levels off and identify them and what they are. We are looking for the value area high, value area low, and the volume point of control from the prior day. The point of control is very easy to point because it's actually just standing out on the chart with a line itself. The point of control is the area of highest volume traded for whatever time frame that we are identifying here. The value area high and the value area low is identifying 70% of the value, of the volume that's traded for that specific day. We can adjust these in the settings, but right here you could see 70 for value area, right? So we're going to catch a value area low and value area high. We have row size, which I do adjust. This just makes it a little bit more granular. You'll see if I, let's say, just knock this down to 50, you can see we just kind of get this blockier view. I like to up that to 200. It's just a pretty, random number that gives us a much more granular, fine zoomed in view. You can identify different things like color, the style, where you want to see the value area and just the volume up and down. I'll show you my settings so you can mark it exactly the same on my chart. Really just a preference, right? The calculations are the same. You can move how far the volume sticks out or pulls over to the left-hand side, whether it displays on the left or right-hand side. And then you can decide to actually display the point of control and the value area low and value area high if you wanted to. For this example, we'll leave the value area low and high on there just so it makes it really easy to mark. Now, what I like to do is come over here once I have these areas on, right? I dragged out the fixed range volume profile. I've identified the value area high, low, and the point of control. I use, because I'm trading on Project X, there's a couple different indicators that you can use, like session volume profile, HD, which allow you to do this in a little bit easier way. But I like to go ahead and manually mark this. So I'll come over here. It also gives me kind of a refresh of what happened in the prior day. And I'll go ahead and manually mark each one of these levels, right? That's value area high. This is point of control. And this is value area low. And then oftentimes what I'll do is I'll label these, right? And then I kind of just do it one time, and I will drag it over and drag it around for the next day. So we've got prior day, value area low, prior day, POC, point of control, and we have, I'm just going to give you, exactly how I might go about doing this if you wanted to mark it on your chart, and I'll show you why, right? When we come over to the next session, again, this is an example where they really did not come into play because we have gapped up and had such a volatile move to the upside. If you're trading over here on the 1 minute chart, you're probably not going to see that value area, that volume profile all the way over there on the left-hand side, right? You're just going to get the levels off of that chart. So that's why I go ahead and mark those that way. The other thing that I will do, just to show you exactly how I mark this stuff up, is get prior week, right? Prior week volume profile for the entire week, and get value area high, value area low, and point of control. So exact same thing, right? We're just going to come all the way over to Monday. We're going to click the tool. I'm out here on the 15-minute chart, so we can zoom all the way out. We're going to come all the way over here and actually grab from, for me, I grab from the start of that week's session, which is actually going to be Sunday, right? So Friday into, boom, right there, all the way through the end of last week. And again, you can see this gives us the same levels across a much, much larger chunk of price action and market structure and time, right? Value area high, volume point of control, value area low. So again, with these levels, they really do come into play, and I encourage you to go on the chart, mark this stuff up. If you're interested in utilizing these levels outside of watching me trade with them live, you can mark these up day over day, week over week, and look at how they come into play through backtesting, right? What happens when you play forward price after marking prior day, volume point of control, value area high and low? What happens when you start the fresh week after marking prior week's volume point of control, value area high and low? How often are those levels retested? What happens when price returns there? I think you'll find it extremely interesting. Not to waste time going through a ton of examples, I'm going to leave that to you, right? That's your job as a trader, to not only listen to somebody like me talk about these things, but to go and test them for yourself, right? Build confidence in them for yourself. Decide it is something that you want to use or don't want to use. And again, I would just go ahead and do the exact same thing. I'm not going to go through the entire thing here, but go ahead and mark these levels up. And again, why I like these so much. 2 reasons, and why I've really enjoyed utilizing them this year. Number one, they're objective, right? They are 100% objective. It's not my opinion where value area high, low, and volume point of control is for the prior week. You can find it the exact same way that I find it on my chart. I will say you do have to be consistent from the way that you mark it, the time that you anchor it to, the start and the finish, and the time frame. As you change between time frames, the way that this volume displays is ever so different. And on Project X especially, I've noted if you're marking it on the 5-minute one day and the 15-minute one day, you're going to have slightly different volume profiles and the levels that are corresponding to those volume profiles. So I would say decide what time frame you want to use, regular trading session hours, the entire day. For the week, how are you going to mark that up? And what time frame are you going to mark it on? Stick to one time frame and one block, and then it is 100% objective. Again, very clean, very consistent day over day. It's not an opinion. That level is either going to come into play or not come into play, but the way that it's marked is the exact same day over day, week over week. So you have a lot of consistency there in the way that you can utilize it, and also with backtesting. Along with that, I'm a fan of utilizing volume profile because I like volume as a tool. We have price and time, and price action itself does display often where a lot of transactions have been taking place, right? Do we blast through a level very quickly? It could be on decent volume, but typically we're moving through that area without trading a lot and putting a lot of volume at that price level. So it does display in price action and market structure a bit, but I think it displays really, really clearly in the volume profile in this nice horizontal display. And I like to utilize it again because it's objective and that I personally find these levels come into play. When we trade away from and back to these key levels day over day, week over week, price often reacts at these levels. I find them to be very, very useful. I think they can work well with a number of different strategies, right? If you're utilizing other tools on your chart, these can be a clean add-in. It doesn't have to replace anything. It can if you want to, of course. But if you utilize this maybe along with VWAP, along with visible range volume profile as that current day is printing, these can be a really, really nice add-on. Again, sometimes we move away from the prior week like we did today really aggressively, and you might want some levels down below price if we start to, come back down. Maybe we sell off conversely really aggressively, and you want some key levels back up above price. But I really encourage you to go back on the chart yourself and test this. Again, very, very simple way to mark up key levels of interest based on volume, right? A tool that we like that is additional to price and time itself. There's really only 3 things on these candlestick charts as far as the inputs that we're looking at: price, time, and the volume that's traded, right? That's being pulled from these exchanges. On futures especially, right? Here on the ES, we have centralized data coming from the CME. We have reliable volume data, and I find that very helpful to utilize. Probably also a preference because I came from the Forex and CFD world where we didn't have any reliable volume data at all. And utilizing these types of tools were either inconsistent or just not really helpful because we were looking at one specific broker that was kind of making this volume. Here it is centralized. It's very, very useful in my humble opinion. If you guys want to learn more about this, feel free to comment down below, ask me any questions, subscribe so you can watch me trade this live almost every dang day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube. And like I mentioned in the beginning, feel free to check out Top 1 Futures. They are on Project X, which gives you a TradingView integrated chart, super fast execution speeds, and ability to utilize the tools that we're talking about in the exact same way that you see here on TradingView. If you want to check that out, I'll link it here again. I'll link it in the chat, comment down below. Code RDF gets you the best deals, 40% off, and anytime payouts along with that, no daily loss limit. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing you see or hear from me here or anywhere else is financial advice. I'm just an idiot on YouTube yapping about trading for entertainment purposes only. Trading's very risky. Most traders lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all your money, whether you use volume profile or anything else. Also read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF that I'm talking about. I can't stand to be unbiased if I stand to make money. It's important for me to be transparent about that. Remember, guys, I'm live here on YouTube, 9:30 a.m. I will see you live tomorrow.